आजा रे, पल पल जीवन जाए रे, कर ले प्रभु का भजन, शरण प्रभु की आजा रे। तेरे अपने कर्म जाए तेरे ही। सहना भवतु सहनौ पुनस्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। Having studied the problems that occur with non-fulfillment of desire, we are now trying to study the problems that occur with fulfillment of desires. Because when you don't fulfill your desires, you basically get frustrated, and that reveals itself in all sorts of strange ways, a very, very strange behavior. So that's one side of it. And the other side of it is okay, you say, oh my God, all this frustration, it's time. I'm going to go all out and fulfill my desires. And then when we do that, then we jump into another problem. And then that's what we are studying now. What are the problems of satisfaction? So the first problem that we did was we don't see the end of the journey. So everything becomes, the moment you take one step, you'll see two more. Then you take two steps, you'll see more. There is no end to this. Besides that, each desire in itself also, sort of diversifies into various things. What we need some example, right? So you keep adding some dimension to it so that you get that feeling of satisfaction back, because you fulfill it and this feeling of satisfaction is just gone. Then the third one is, which is a very real experience for, all of it is a real experience for us, but it's a philosophically difficult experience to sort of get, is the one where you've got it, you're enjoying it. Enjoying it means experiencing it. And in philosophy, enjoyment means experiencing. And you feel you haven't. So it's a very interesting phenomenon of the mind. Your experiences lack in spite of the fact that you have it. And we did some examples of that, right? So a wife suspects her husband. Now she will go through all that turmoil as if he's really having an affair. Now, this is regardless of whether he is having one or not. Then a miser will go through distress over loss of money, regardless of whether that money is lost or not. People can feel insulted whether or not an insult was meant. That is why nowadays, you have to be extremely careful in how you come across, because, people are always seeing an insult where none was meant. So, very like when we were writing the book, for instance, you say he this, he that. And many people had an objection. Why he? It should be she. Okay, fine. So then we made some of the he's into she's. You have to become very sensitive to this nowadays, because that's how society has become. You just cannot afford to say, I don't care. No, you have to care. So, on the other hand, if you look at it, suppose the share market is crashing, but the man is sleeping. He's okay with it, right? And then we have Scarlett O'Hara from Gone with the Wind. So many examples to show how the actual situation is not as important as what you are thinking the situation to be. And you will suffer its joys and sorrows depending on what you think that situation is. It's an interesting thing that how you can suffer lack when you are enjoying or experiencing that object. You feel you're suffering lack. Many children um, who their parents are turning over backwards to do stuff for them. They experience parental lack. They experience it, and you can't tell them no. Your parent is looking after you. Makes no sense. This is the child's feeling about it. So perception is the key. It determines everything, not the event in itself. Shall we go further? One can ruin a perfectly good evening by wondering if someone else is having a better time. Just think about it. You're enjoying yourself, and then you think, oh, that person is getting a better deal. Gone, your enjoyment is gone. Or become entirely dissatisfied with one's salary if one finds out that a colleague is getting a higher one. Suppose you are completely happy with your salary, but now you find somebody else is getting this. That's why in the companies they don't tell. It's a secret what somebody's salary is, because it's extremely demotivating to a person to know that somebody else is getting something more. The fear of missing out can mysteriously arrive out of the blue, and then the mind cannot be happy anymore. Imagine if you are, I don't know, in the Maldives and you're having a great time in the Maldives, and then you hear that somebody else has gone to Mauritius, and you see their Facebook posts, and you think those people are doing somehow better. Finished, gone. Maldives is finished. The nature of the mind is to repeat patterns. Instinctively, thoughtlessly, it will replicate its old ways. Important thing to understand about a mind. The nature of the mind is to go on the well trodden path. Whatever it is used to looking at, used to doing, used to thinking, whatever it is, what we call a comfort, the comfort zone. What's my comfort zone? Just something that I have done before. Even when it comes to karma, you'll notice that everybody wants to do social work or be helpful or generous until
It is within their comfort zone.
until it becomes uncomfortable. That's where we stop. And that's why there's such a ceiling on us. As long as it's comfortable, I'll do it. But the moment it's not comfortable, I'm off. I throw my arms up. But growth happens when that comfort is broken. That's always what is so tough to get. I have to do something so much that I'm actually uncomfortable. That doesn't mean I have to be miserable and sobbing and weeping and tortured, but I have to experience the discomfort of doing it. Otherwise, there's no growth. The nature of the mind is to repeat patterns. Instinctively, thoughtlessly, it will replicate its old ways. It sets up a perception loop wherein every further input renders the same conclusion. This is such a frightening idea if you understand what it's saying. It sets up a perception loop. And once you've decided something is like that, every further piece of information will tell you the same thing. You will never find any contradictory information. We studied this in How Do You Know What You Know, as in falsification. How do you test a theory? You think about what ways you can falsify it. Under what condition will it be that this theory is wrong? Remember, we studied that if a mother-in-law gives a daughter-in-law a diamond necklace, then somebody will say, "Oh, see, you have a nice mother-in-law. She gave you a diamond necklace." To which the daughter-in-law can retort and say, "Oh, she didn't give me that, but she was just trying to show off in front of her friends." So whenever we have a situation like that, we have to think under what if my mother-in-law did, would it prove that she's not a negative person? So there has to be some capacity of falsification of that idea. Under what condition would we know that this is not correct? Because otherwise, every single time, whatever is the theory is what you're going to see. Why is that?
Because the mind is stuck in its old patterns.
Very good. Because seeing anything is just a repetition of the past. Okay, great. So this is clear, then we can go further. It is up to the intellect to put in effort to perceive things differently. To take another look. The moment we perceive a situation with a higher vision, we tackle our problem of suffering. The moment we perceive a situation with a higher vision, we tackle our problem of suffering. Such a boring line, and yet it contains the whole trick about life and suffering. The more we can lift ourselves, the lesser the pain. A car experiences the potholes on the road, not a drone. These are up and down, 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 down. The car goes through it. But suppose a drone was flying. Will it go through all the dum 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 of the road? Here are some ways. Is this much clear? That the mind tends to repeat patterns, and that's why we face suffering. If we can learn to not do that, if the intellect can get out of that mold, then there'll be no suffering, at least at that level. Now, the problem here is, how do we do this? How do we look at it differently? So, the easiest, best way to do it is to think of something higher. Because that's the only way you know for sure you're doing it different. So, here are some examples. Here are some ways of taking another higher look. To think of duties rather than privileges. You're going back, Mahesh, to attempt solutions rather than grumble. So every time you see yourself complaining, grumbling, thinking, oh, why is it like that? Why should it be like that? Why should that person behave like this? Why did I do this? All the grumbling in the world can be replaced with, so what's the solution? Service orientedness instead of entitlement. Why didn't I get this? Why didn't I get that? Instead of thinking like that, replace it with what service can I be? Gratitude instead of demands. If I'm feeling some kind of lack, why don't I look again and think, okay, what here am I grateful for? Cooperation rather than competition. Competition makes us get all agitated. So why not I think in terms of, is there some way in which both of us can be happy in some both of us can get this? That doesn't mean, please don't misunderstand. It doesn't mean that you are playing a tennis game or involved in a race. You say, okay, let's both come first. That's not what it means. What it's talking about the attitude of cooperation, which you can have even in a competition. In a competition, if you think I have to do whatever to win this, you'll be so agitated you won't be able to do anything. But if your attitude is may the best man win, then you will be calm enough to maybe win the competition. Effort instead of comfort. So many people, even when they come to the ashram, even now, when we go to our university plot and you're deciding to come to the university plot, what is the one question you ask? How comfortable will I be there? Or how much effort will I put in my sadhana? Which is the question. So, in 3 months, I hope we'll be able to make it livable, so at least some of us can visit it and live there for some time. But where is my attention all the time? Is it just in how comfortable am I with this? People talk like this. It's a normal way to talk. Oh, I'm not comfortable with this. And I feel like saying, in which case you better do it. Especially if it's like raising funds. Oh, I'm not comfortable with it. You're not comfortable with it. You have to decide if the university has to come, funds are required. Or if anything has to happen, funds are required. I'm not comfortable means what? Who are you dumping this baby? On whose lap? So if you think that something ought to be done, whatever it is, or feeding the poor, whatever, then there's the money for it. And if you think it should be done, then part of your job is to raise the funds. Love instead of obsession. Yeah.
Are you, ma'am?
Yeah, so going back to the earlier example of a daughter-in-law labeling the mother-in-law as evil, right? So she finds comfort in that pattern, correct? But there's pain in that pattern also, right? The pain of agitation.
That is one thing, Bharat, you always find very confusing. The pain is comfortable. And you never seem to feel that this is a possibility. I don't know if you know how many times you've asked this question. Pain is anything in this world for a human being is better than something new. If you go to a person, okay, let us say a person is suffering from mosquito bites. Simple everyday thing, not mosquito bites. You tell this person, why don't we put a mosquito repellent? What will that person say? And
Maybe brush it off, saying
always,
it's not worth it.
always. I mean, it's such a simple thing, right? Put on the mosquito repellent, the mosquito won't bite you. No, I want to. No, इसमें क्या होता है? या होने दो, वैसे ही होता है. Yeah, but why are you going through this pain? The comfort that people have with their agitation is shocking. If we did not have that comfort, we would all have one word. We would all have
Self-realization.
no, not self-realization. We are somewhat close. We would all have
Objectivity.
Growth.
if we were not so comfortable with our pain, we would all have
Happiness.
sorry, I didn't hear both of you. I can't hear Vidushin. Progress, you're saying? If we were not so comfortable with our pain, we would all have
Happiness. Happiness. Happiness.
happiness. I mean, I'm sure you can justify your answers and you
Ma'am, is
probably
it stagnation? If you're not comfortable with our pain, that means we will not do that, right? We're not comfortable. Stagnation.
No, we are stagnating because we are comfortable with our pain. We're very comfortable with our pain. If you take a couple who are fighting, you say go to marriage counseling, will they go? If a person is I don't know what, is putting on weight or is generally getting a lot of diseases, you tell that person start some exercise, will they do it? If we were not so comfortable with our pain, we would all have
Stagnation and rot, right?
no, if we were not so comfortable with our pain.
Wisdom.
I mean, you could justify these answers, but what would you have immediately?
We would have progress, evolution.
All these are later on effects. But what would you immediately have?
We would be in action and we would be doing something about it.
Okay, what would you immediately have?
Contentment.
We are content now. We are so content with our pain.
Clarity towards goal.
Ma'am, to accept it.
Yes, that is the problem. We are accepting it.
Agitation.
Agitation.
That we have agitation now and we are accepting it. But if we didn't accept it, we would instantly, all of us have. We are very happy with our unhappiness. Our
Yes.
unhappiness is our happiness. If we were unhappy, if we were not so satisfied with our agitation, we would all of us instantly have mumukshatva. Instantly, like that. Today, no mumukshatva is available. Joyce, are you familiar with the word mumukshatva? Mumukshatva means moktum ichha, the great, the ardent, the uncontrollable desire, the most powerful desire for liberation. We don't know we are caged. We don't know we are unhappy. And so we are sitting there happy in that life. But the moment we recognize this, you will drop everything and work for only one thing, for liberation. You don't know it. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa gives an example of a person who has mumukshatva. He says it feels like somebody has pushed your head below the surface of water and you want to come up. That's what mumukshatva is. Now we are, oh, Vedanta is so nice. I should study Vedanta. As if it's a hobby course, I should learn cooking and I should learn stitching and I should learn how to run mutual funds and I should learn Vedanta. We don't get it. We just don't get it. That the moment you recognize that my existence is a complete and unadulterated mess, strong desire for moksha, then you leave everything and do that. I mean, not leave anything. Please don't misunderstand this, but you're not interested in anything else. You're simply not interested. If you get married, well, that's great. I got married. You get money. This is great. I got money. I've got to do this or I have to do that. Okay, fine, great. But I have no interest in any of this. Whatever I have to do, I have to do. I have zero interest. Otherwise, everything we have an interest in. If I do exercise, I'm interested in
The muscles or the fitness.
yes, I'm interested in how I look. If I don't know, in everything. And say no, but doesn't Vedanta say you have to exercise? Yes, Vedanta says you have to exercise. But for what? Only for the purpose of liberation. And then you get involved in making money. So, shouldn't I make money? Does Vedanta say I should be dependent on others? No, Vedanta doesn't say you should be dependent on others. Yes, you should make your own money, but now I'm interested in making money. If I understood the thing, I would say, there's something I have to do. I am doing it. Zero interest in it. There's no interest. Zero. Things come to me and things go away. No interest because my interest lies elsewhere. That's why this great Shankara says, Guru Rangri Padme Manaschena Lagnam Tatakim 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 Tatakim. Tatakim means so what? Videsheshu Manya Swadesheshu Anya. I am well known in my country. I am popular in all the other countries. I am greatly learned. I have all the wealth. I have all the family. I have my family and children, grandchildren. So what? I am known as a Dhanavir. I have given so much to everybody. I have served society so much. So what? I am a person of great renunciation. I have left everything and I'm an introvert and I don't care for anything in the world. So what? Guru Rangri Padme Manaschena Lagnam Tatakim 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 Tatakim. So what? If your one and only desire is not for liberation, everything is so what? I got Nobel Prize. So what? I failed in my class. So what? Guru Rangri Padme Manaschena Lagnam Tatakim 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 Tatakim. Joyce, if you want to learn Sanskrit, learn these two words. Tatakim. Kim, you know, right? The girl Kim. Tatakim. So what? Kim means what?
That song that we heard, I think you played that song, Tatak.
Yes.
It's a beautiful song.
Beautiful meaning too. So you can learn Tatakim. If anyone tells you anything, Joyce, you say to them, Tatakim. So what? And they won't know what you're saying, so it's okay.
Yes, exactly.
Sorry if your voice is cracking. So the moment we understand that I am unhappy with this, mumukshatva arises. Then you say, oh, everything is so bad. What to do in this world? Everybody is so bad. Everything is so sad. And you're so happy with it. People don't understand anything. They're so stupid. And you're very happy, contented to grumble and complain. And normal life is going on.
Right. Janki,
Okay, Bharat.
Uh,
One second. There's a queue over here. I'll come to you. Bharat, are you okay?
No, I have a follow-up question. So the pain of comfort is better than the pain of solution for the person, but the person's claim is that he wants peace. I- If you ask a agitated person what do you want, he will say कि मुझे शांति चाहिए. But Shanti is not at all that I mean, his actions are completely contrary to that. Would that be correct?
Yeah, would that be correct? Means what? That is how it is in this world. What is the use of us saying correct or wrong? That is how it is. Everybody wants peace, and everybody does everything that will not give it to them. That is just the way this world functions. Otherwise, everybody would be happy. What's the big deal in being happy? Every Tom, Dick, and Harry is happy. What's the big deal? Every dog and parrot and mosquito is happy. Big deal. Every tiger and deer and rabbit and I don't know, tree, everybody is happy. Mummy pagal hai who are not happy. What is there to be happy? It takes like this much Vedanta knowledge to be happy. This much. Vedanta knowledge is not meant to be happy. Vedanta knowledge is mumukshat. But now if we tell somebody mumukshatva, they'll say, oh, कुछ practical बताओ. Practical बताओ. This is the practical thing. Yes, Joyce.
I have a question regarding the points, ways of taking another higher look. It's the first one, to think of duties rather than privileges. Does that mean that think of our actions as being our duties rather? I didn't quite get it.
It's like to think of duties other than rights. The human tendency is always to think of what is my right. Isn't it my right that my husband look after me? Should my husband not help me? These are all my rights. So when we think in terms of my husband should support me in whatever I do, he should have unquestioning.
Yes.
These are my rights. I should have it. But what is my duty? My first duty is leave the poor fellow alone and let him live his life his way. Instead of me telling him what he should like and not like and support and not support. Right? So all the time we think in terms of what are my rights? What am I supposed to get here? And it is a sort of rot in the human system. What am I supposed to get? Even now, when we all meet, I hope you're coming, you and Nadine are coming, no, to the plot. No,
I hope so. I hope so. One day.
So when you come, what is the attitude? Are we coming there to be of service, to learn, to put in effort, or a sense of privilege? See, I've come from so far, but you didn't do X or Y or Z. It's a sense of privilege that these were my rights and it was not given to me. That attitude in life is attitude. You should have done the X or Y or Z instead of focusing on what on earth are you supposed to be doing. And that's how we behave all the time.
We are afraid that I think that the reason why we are always concerned about our rights is that we are afraid that people might abuse our rights or not give us what we think is rightfully ours. So we are always protective of our rights or trying to defend our rights. Perhaps this is in contradiction of this point, like to think of duties rather than to focus on what's my right, what's my right.
That's right. So you see, suppose you're working in an organization
Mm.
and the organization underpays you.
Yes.
So you should ask the question something like, what is this? I mean, like, you understand the whole structure, right? If it's a startup, they don't have money themselves. Where are they going to pay me from? Right? That's a certain. Or it's a massive organization and they are using their power to underpay their employees. So they're underpaying me. They're not underpaying only me, right? That means my whole cadre, whatever it be, will be underpaid. So I have to look at it from the perspective of the organization. That if my organization is behaving so badly with its employees, the employees cannot leave because they need whatever little they're getting, or they may be not other jobs available, whatever. So, for whatever reason, they're stuck. But what will they do? Okay, they are not going to serve this thing. So, if I'm looking after the interests of this organization, I'm going to make sure that some kind of fairness in salaries is established for all of us, right? So I'm not doing it as I am underpaid. I'm doing it as this organization cannot afford to have people being underpaid, because the consequences of that will come to the organization. So there's a different way of looking at this. It's not about me at all.
There is a situation in which I actually am, in which I am working for this organization, but I have reached an age where I cannot, let's say, go to certain areas and perform certain duties because of my age. I mean, there are risks. I mean, I might have some health issues if I do that. So they are trying to just, instead of looking at what I can do, they are trying to replace me with a younger person who can go to those places that are, a higher risk. So how do I deal with this while thinking what my duty is to serve the children that I want to serve, but I can do it in a different way than what the organization wants me to do it.
The organization is a person. It's not an organization, right? So there's a person there
Yes.
who has not been able to understand something. So it is your responsibility now to deal with this thing. Either that person or that person's boss. When you say organization, there is no organization. There are human beings there, right? So you have to have a very clear understanding of what do you bring to the table. How is this beneficial? Like you say, because of my age or for whatever reason, I cannot travel. But the
Yes.
thing is not about your traveling. You can't formulate it as I can't travel. You have to formulate it as here's what I bring to the table.
Yes.
Right. And when you formulate it like that, in the sense of how you are serving or doing your duty towards the organization, then the benefits of that have to be clear.
This is exactly what I did, to be honest. I explained what I can do. I can design the programs for the person who's traveling. They can implement those programs, but I can design because I have more experience than the person who's actually. This is how I approached it. Like, this is what I can bring to the table, what I can offer, even if I cannot go in person myself.
Yeah, not only offer, this is incredibly important for the organization, because you bring
Yes.
a new person in and they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
What are they going to do?
Now, if they choose that they still don't want me there because they just want the person who can travel, then I would have tried, let's say.
No, you can't
No,
have that kind of stance. I would have tried. If you're dedicated to whatever cause it is, then you have to fight for it.
yeah.
But you're fighting for the cause.
Yes, for the cause, definitely. For the children we serve.
Yes. So here is something that is important that has to be done for them, and we have to do it.
Yes.
So it's not about me, it's about the children or whatever it is that causes.
Yes. But they might still choose not to
That's
look
okay.
at what.
Yeah, you have to fight for it. You have to say,
Yeah.
no, this is an erroneous decision and it's not beneficial to the cause, and you show how it is not.
Yes.
And if X doesn't agree, go to Y.
Mm.
Go over the head, go to the head of the organization.
It is the head I went to.
Okay.
It's the head.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll
And
see.
nobody can see it. Then
Yeah.
you must A, check whether whatever your contention was is true or not, and B, find somebody who understands it
Yes.
and
Yes.
somewhere else. Because if he's stupid enough not to see it, somebody else may have the sense to see it.
So the duty is to fight for what you think is right. All right. Okay. It makes sense. Thank you.
Mhm. Now, where was I? Elsie.
Janviji, when you said mumuksha, we are talking about self-realization.
Yes.
But
Desire for self-realization.
pardon?
The desire for self-realization.
But suppose I am uncomfortable in my pain, in my present situation, I will go to only to the next level. Now I may break that and go to the next level only, no?
Yes,
It's a
but then
step
you'll
by
be
step.
stuck there as if that next level is the pain is gone. The pain hasn't gone. I just don't recognize this as pain.
But only step by step only we can raise that. No, the next stage also you will be uncomfortable after some time.
Yes, so why do you want to become uncomfortable, comfortable, uncomfortable? What is all this?
Okay, go
No,
straight.
right? Yeah, you know at the beginning where you're headed and why you're taking these steps, but you take them one after the other.
Okay.
You don't wait till you find discomfort, then start again, and again sit down and enjoy, and again find discomfort. Just proceed.
But is it possible like that to jump like that?
What is the jump? You proceed on your journey. The journey stays the same. The intention in the journey is different.
Okay. I understand. Thank you.
Aditi.
Janki ji, a little bit of confusion with this mumukshata concept. Is it just related to content or happiness also?
Mumukshatva is the ardent desire for liberation, to get out of the mess that this whole thing is. But you cannot have the ardent desire to get out of the mess when you're not seeing the mess. So, what was Bharat's example? There's this lady who's very agitated. She wants Shanti, but she's doing all the wrong things for it. So she's not seeing the mess. She is just thinking ki agar I don't know, my daughter-in-law is not listening to me. If she listens to me, everything be okay or whatever. Some stupid solution people have. I don't have money. If I get money, everything will be okay. I'm not married. If I get married, everything will be okay. I don't have a child. If I get a child, everything will be okay. You see some stupid solutions. Many people have this also. I've noticed they want to leave a marriage and they say that I want a better spouse and then everything will be okay. They don't realize a marriage is made of two individuals. And if this marriage is not okay and you don't correct whatever you are doing wrong, no, he's all wrong. Okay, he may be 80% wrong, but yeah, 20% have you corrected. If you're not correcting it, when you go to the next thing, you will meet similar things. Have you corrected it? Because remember, you chose the person. You used a methodology of choosing that person, and now you are with this person, and that problems are there. So if those lenses are the same, you're going to repeat this. So they have silly ideas like, okay, this will happen and then my problems are solved. Many people think, I get money, then my problems are solved. This is all nonsense. Look at all the people who have money. Are their problems solved? That's why people say, us, no, what's the use of learning Vedanta? Give people food, give people money, as if their problems will be solved by doing it.
Janki ji had said in one of the quotes that our primary
Right?
duty
Got it?
is. Hello, you can hear me? Janki ji, you can hear me?
Yes. Can you
Oh,
hear me?
yes, I can hear you. In one of the quotes that you had said, that our primary duty is to be happy, and if you're not, then you haven't done the primary duty of a human being. So, how do you correlate this to mumukshatva? That if you're just happy, then you will probably will not look out for mumukshatva, right?
Our primary duty is to be happy because the assumption is you're not happy. But you don't know this. So you say, okay, my primary duty is to be happy. I'm happy. Good. We are done. And when I start doing, like for instance, Aditi, you have taken up a major job. I don't know if you all know Aditi, because she's a wonderful singer. She wanted to do something for the university. So she took up this job of, she said, okay, I'm going to sing and we'll have a charity dinner or a charity event and I will sing and people will come and do some charity. So she took this thing up, poor thing. She didn't know how problematic this is because people coming and giving money is not an easy task. Now, obviously, as she does it, and she knows, I'm sure she would tell you herself, as you do it, Aditi, you will start becoming extremely uncomfortable because to organize all of this, you're going to have to do stuff which you've never done before, you're not comfortable doing. Hajar things will come up that, you're living your life, whatever you're living, and your life is full. Now you've taken on one more event. So obviously, there's no time to do it. Then it's uncomfortable to do it. Then you have to do all sorts of things that you don't want to do. They say, I wanted to sing, but why do I have to do all this? The mind will speak to you like, right? Now, what is the solution to this problem?
Just keep thinking of the goal.
The solution your mind will give you is, yaar, chodo na.
Achha, what will it give? Okay.
I was sitting happily at home. Why did I take this stupid project? I will go and tell her. I'll tell her. I'm sure she won't say anything. I'm here it. I want to confess something to you. I can't do this. And I know you're very forgiving. And you will say nothing. You're right. I will say nothing. But you will not grow. Because when you fight all the things that are coming, what happens is you start experiencing a happiness, not as an event, but as a state of mind, which you have never experienced before. And you will say, but what happened here? I was doing all these horrible things, and then now suddenly I'm feeling really blissful. What happened? Then what will your mind do? You say, oh, see, I did this beautiful event. I've become so blissful. Now I'm going to sit down. That is what Elsie is saying. Now I'm comfortable. Now I'll sit down. No. Once you've crossed so much, now next uncomfortable thing. Right? So now, let's say you did the event, you became blissful. Now you look back. What will you think of your own mental condition before you did this uncomfortable thing? You're looking back now. Now you achieved a new level of bliss. When you look back and you say, when you're talking about your state then, before you started this whole rigmarole, did all these uncomfortable things, grew, blah, whatever. When you look back on that level, what will you say about it?
On the level before I did that or whilst doing that?
No, before I did. Now you've come out the other side. Now you become blissful. You had gone through this period of discomfort. You come out on the top. Let us say, I'm just giving you a hypothetical case. Now, when you've come out on the top and you become blissful and you're looking back at the stage before the discomfort started, what will you say about that earlier bliss state? What you were then calling bliss?
Not
That was
as much
agitation.
as what it would what I'm feeling now. So I've gone up higher.
Right. So now when you were in that lower stage, you were claiming bliss. And when you were taking these things, you were claiming agitation. Right? This is why
Yes.
the problem arises. Because that's what people say, I'm very happy. Why should I take up all this nonsense? It's making me agitated. It's not giving me bliss. Yes, that's how it is in this world. Now, main kya karu? You have to take on the pain and then you find the pleasure. Other people come to the spiritual path and they think immediately it's all going to be blissful. And it is, but that's a fake bliss.
So there's no growth
So
in that bliss.
happiness which
What you think is bliss, there's no
Yes.
growth in that.
there is no bliss and there is no growth.
How can we claim there's no bliss?
You'll claim it now. Whatever state you are, now you claim you're in bliss. But when you look behind, before you reach the higher bliss, you will say to yourself, oh, that wasn't such a happy state.
No, coming to the spiritual path, the student has not put in the effort as yet. Just the knowledge part is really blissful to him, right?
Mhm.
So there is that temporary bliss
Yes,
for that moment, huh?
yes, yes. You will feel very nice. Then you do it for some time, then you get neutralized to it because no actual progress has taken place. He just reveled in the, sort of, what should I say, borrowed joy.
But Jankiji, is it possible that when you take the next step and you're going through that pain again, the same feelings can come back to you again, saying that, oh God, this is again, or you've learned that and you can handle it better?
You will handle it better, but the challenges are more. So we are back to square one. A square one in the sense you'll always be taking on something more. But
So
other people will think of you as a very happy person, very calm person, handling a lot and all that. But you are still struggling. In other words, what should I say? You passed third standard, you came to fourth standard. Third standard is easy for you, but now fourth standard you will have to struggle.
So keeping the thought at the back of your mind that the struggle is the actual bliss.
No, no. The struggle will lead to final liberation.
Yeah, so the struggle is taking you a step further.
Yeah, I mean, not the struggle. Your struggle has to be right. If you do silly struggle, it won't take you further. But you are willing to sacrifice your likes and dislikes for a cause that you have placed for yourself. Okay, so when you're sacrificing your likes and dislikes, what does that mean? I'm doing stuff I don't want to do, I don't like doing. It's irritating me, but I'm doing it. And I'm sacrifice that like and dislike, then I reach the next level after a period of time. Now again, you have to go to the next one. Again, वही करना पड़ेगा. और क्या करेंगे? You just be repeating the process until you reach the final goal.
But
This is
Janki,
true for every level, na?
but isn't it tricky? Because if you keep on and on and on doing, if your intellect is not strong, or if you're not established, at some point in time, you can even snap and say, I've had enough.
Yeah.
Is that a possibility?
Of course, that's always a possibility, but I don't think you're getting it in the sense once you cross it, now your intellect is stronger. How can you say I have crossed it, but my intellect is not strong? It is stronger than it used to be.
Okay.
When you're doing silly things, it snaps. Because
Okay.
you're not achieving growth, you're struggling foolishly.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Vidushi?
Janki ji, this is on the point of taking a higher stance of service orientedness and thinking about how I can serve and what is in the best interests of this person. Wouldn't that also necessarily imply that you have this sort of arrogance that I know what is best for this person?
Very good. Yes, you're right. That's
So,
built ego in that.
so aren't you just feeding your ego there?
Once you figure out that, look, I am not making decisions for this person. I am supporting this person in what they choose. So each time you improve on that.
Thank you.
Hariom Janki, I have one question. You spoke about fundraising. Now, a lot of people don't like sales and asking. They just don't like it. It's not part of their swadharma. If they take it, then it may not work out for them. So, in that case, is it like getting into a discomfort zone and growth, or getting into a discomfort zone and just destroy? What is your thought on that?
It's not, I mean, generally nobody can answer that question. The biggest question is not what you're doing, but why you're doing it. For instance, at the moment, there's a road being made on the plot, electricity has to come, water has to come. Now, honestly, in my whole life, I've never thought of how is a road built. Where does water come from? They are making bore wells, getting a pipe laid from the whatever river to come there. Jayashree is doing all these things. She has never thought of any of these things in her life before. First time she's understood that how is a road made? What do you do? How she was sharing the other day. Jayashree, is it okay if I tell them what you were sharing? She gone? Where is she? Okay, she was sharing. I hope it's okay with her if I share it with you. They're saying that first day she took up this whole, she wrote nicely on her LinkedIn profile and all. What am I doing? I'm setting up the world's first Vedanta University. I was very impressed. But she didn't say I was working for Vedanta or I'm doing volunteer, I'm setting up the world. They ask you, to know, they're setting up the world's first Vedanta University. I said, wow, that's a great, that's your vision. It's very good. So, okay, setting it up, then the plot is there. So she went to the plot. Now, what is the first thing to be done? Put a fence. She said she reached the plot and she was like, what have I signed up for? Like, how does one put up a fence over here? Where do you start? What do you do? She said for 2 minutes, I was I was thinking, like, what have I started over here? Very nicely, so because really, wait, now she's just a girl who's gone to a plot and now she has to handle it. Like, how? So, is this paradharma? Now she has to worry about how a road is going to come on the plot and all that. And so many things that nothing whatsoever to do with her skill set. But there's a job to be done. So if she does it because the job has to be done, she will grow. Not only will she grow, the situation will come about that she doesn't have to do this anymore. So what eventually happened, which has happened recently, is that we have hired a PMC. And we've been so lucky because the person who is the owner of that PMC said to us that whatever the cost of anything is the cost of it, but I will not charge you anything. Which is like amazing, right? He's going to give all his services like that. So he has taken over. Now she doesn't have to worry about how is the wall coming and how is the road coming, and she doesn't have to worry about this. But at that time, it was necessary. So she did it. Right? So it's not that you take up these activities and you have to stay with them forever and do paradharmic things and things like that. What happens is it eases out. And then obviously each one will do their own skill sets. But you can't say, oh, this is not my job, I will not do it. Okay, then this is not moving in that case. But once you move it forward a little, other help will come.
So you have, while taking the decision, if you sign up for it, yes, you have to do it, right? So in work, if you're working for a startup, which is very much like that, then you have to do everything. And after that, obviously, people get into their skill set. But you can't stay that forever, right? She can't be building fences and roads for all her life, or
She
that
wants,
not.
I mean, it will open up on its own. You don't have to say, I'm not going to do it. Automatically, these things happen. Like she even today, if you tell, she will still be involved in all of them. But now there's no need for it.
Understood.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
Jayashree, I can see you now. Jayashree, I shared your story. I hope you don't mind. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Okay, so, oh, sorry, Deepak Sethi, you have something? You're muted. You're muted.
Yeah, I'm taking off from what you advised to Joyce by saying that your duty is to fight whatever you think is right. Right? Now I'm putting myself in Joyce's position, and by that I mean I myself I'm in that position. So it's just that she's put the question, so I'm, voicing it in her voice. So now for Joyce's point of view, there are two things. A, if she takes that
You will
tenant and
have to state your question quickly because we are already past 8.
Oh,
so just
okay.
in
I didn't
brief.
realize that. Yeah. Okay. So very quickly. So I'm in Joyce's position and I take the tenet and I want to live by it. So the first thing I need to be sure is that I am right in what I think is right per se. Because if I'm not, and I take this on to all the limit, etc., then like you said, that your struggle has to be the right, correct struggle. It can't be a wrong struggle. So I need to, verify that. And secondly, I'll also have to decide how far do I go, meaning to what extent, how do I deal with these two issues of A, revalidating that what I think is right is indeed right for me to go all the way, and how much is all the way.
What can I say? It is the eternal problem of Vedanta. Are you there?
Sorry, who's there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, ma'am.
Yeah, we can hear you. I can hear you. We can hear you.
Oh, okay. I thought you all were all frozen. So can everybody switch their videos off, please? Because it seems to be a problem here. So are you still there or gone?
No, all of us are there.
Okay, fine. So I couldn't hear everything you said, but I think how do you deal with your question was how do you deal with these two things? So in brief, that is the eternal problem of humankind. Discrimination has to work, and it doesn't. That's the whole problem. So really nobody can answer those questions other than the fact that you develop your own discrimination, your own good sense, and know for yourself what is good, what is bad, what is right, what is wrong. I mean, if you talk any more than this, it becomes a counseling session, which is fine. I mean, if we can't do it, then we can go to a counseling session. But the goal of Vedanta is to develop the intellect so that the individual themselves has that discrimination. So do we have answers directly? Not unless we know all the situation. Only answer is development of discrimination. Okay.
Okay, so what you're saying is ultimately the buck stops with your intellect, and you better hope that your intellect is well developed enough and work towards that in any case so that your judgment and discrimination falls right more and more. I think we've lost Janki ji. Yeah, yeah. We can't hear you.
It looks like there's some internet problem. We can take it up next time if you still have anything.
No, I think I'm broadly okay with that.
Thank you, Janki ji.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Janki ji.
Janki ma'am.
Hari Om.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Janki ji, Hari Om.